Think about the last time where you left a hangout and felt genuinely lighter. To be more specific, something good just happened to you. And do you remember the feeling?
Now, think about the last time that you felt the complete opposite. Tired in a way that sleep doesn't even fix it at all. Like you just worked a shift. And then what did that second feeling actually feel like in your body?
Hmm. Did you immediately know the why, or did it take you a while to name it?
Yeah, and that feeling isn't you being sensitive. It's just your body trying to tell you something your brain is too polite to say.
Same activities, same word of friends, completely different feelings. And today, we're basically getting into why that is and what actually we should do about it.
So let's start with this question. I just want to ask you, like, what does a one-sided friendship actually look like in real life? Because I don't think it shows up with a label. We know one-sided relationship, but when it comes to one-sided friendship, what do you define it as?
One-side friendship, I would say one person is doing the work. It
Mm,
always feels like you're overly exhausting yourself in trying to make something out of something that doesn't exist.
mhm,
Meaning you want the friendship, but the other person is kind of like trying to neglect you in a way. They're
mm,
trying to make an excuses to not wanting to compromise, not wanting to actually make the time to catch up with you. You're always making the plans. You're always trying to, like, you're always making the time and the effort to make a life of the friendship.
hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's also how I even, like define it as. And it's kind of crazy because we're talking about one-sided friendship and my brain is just automatically shifting to a relationship and I'm trying to limit myself from speaking about that as much as I can. But um yeah, I guess you defined it well. It's about like only one person just doing their job and the other person is just sitting back and relaxing. But yeah, I guess for me it would be more so, um, when it's just like every conversation that you have with that person is just about them. So when I say about them, it's just them talking about their problems, them talking about their drama, any like constant updates, and when something happens to you,
Hmm.
basically get like few sentences before it circles back to them. And just to rephrase that, to like, give the audience a basic understanding. I had that happen to me 4 years ago, yes, if I'm correct. Where it was my birthday and I was with my ex-friend. Hey, like I'm not talking about relationships, I'm not talking about like ex-boyfriend. But yeah, like my ex-friend and it was my birthday. It was a surprise. No, actually 5 years to be exact. Um, and like, I'm the type of person, I'm a listener, don't get me wrong, and I'm pretty sure half of the subscribers here, like that are listening to this, know me kind of to that extent, but I'm a listener, so which is good. And then at the same time, it also has its consequences as well. But yeah, so like going back 5 years ago, it was my birthday. It was a surprise birthday and stuff. And guess what? Me and this ex friend are just sitting down, and then this ex friend is actually from a different school, and then majority of that French friends are from the school that I also graduated from. And mind you, we were just like chilling and stuff, and then they were talking about this person that I don't know they used to be interested in. And the whole conversation from the picnic at the park to the car rides to the mall, every conversation is just about them and the drama that they had. And I just got home and I was like, did I even celebrate my birthday or did I even pay attention to their,
Celebration of a
their
crush.
problem at the same time? And don't get me wrong, yes, I'm a listener, but then at the same time, it gets exhausting through time, basically. But yeah, that's just how I basically define it as.
I also like how the camera prayer roll because like zoomed in. It was like, is it you? No, it wasn't
Yeah,
me.
I'm here.
Yeah, it's always I forgot the name of this phrase,
Mm,
but there is a word where you're trying to talk about something and that person is outshining you.
mm.
Outshine, is that the, yeah,
I
outshining you,
guess
like
so. My English and stuff.
outshining, outshining. Yeah, it's outshining you. It's in a
Mm,
way, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a way of what's it called? It's a way of,
yeah, I think I get you what you're trying to say. Yeah. Mm,
yes, it's a way of, sorry about that.
no,
It's a
you're.
like you're speaking about something, you're speaking about a celebration, you're speaking about your problems, but that person is always like turning into like, oh, but
Mm-hmm.
I got this going on. I have this going on.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And sometimes we need to kind of like quiet down and actually hear our people out. It's
Mm-hmm.
not always about you. I understand you want to celebrate, you want to say things about yourself, but there's always a time and place for that. I feel like sometimes we don't step back and hear our people out
Mm-hmm.
without actually letting them know I see you too. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
let's see each other, not always like you see me, but okay, this is your time. Let me see
Yeah.
you. And then another
Mm-hmm.
time of me is like I will see you as well.
Yeah, of course. And I guess like there's this thing sometimes right now I feel a sense of relief because I'm no longer friends with that person. I mean, hey, like we had our own good moments. I'm not dissing. I'm not making a diss track. But anyways, we had our goods and stuff, our bads. We lived life for like I don't know, 6 years or something. But it's okay to feel relieved. It's not relief is not guilt. It's more or so like a sign, and it literally deserves to be like taken seriously. But jumping to the next point, so like we know the friendship is quite draining.
Hmm.
Sometimes if we leave, every time feeling worse. The question is, why do we stay in that friendship? Like genuinely, like why?
Well, we can talk about this in a three different stages.
Mm-hmm.
One, it could be out of guilt. The
Mm-hmm.
second one can be like um how much close we are with this person, like the history behind the friendship. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we share too much about our past. They just know us to the full extent and we say, okay, if we break off this friendship, are they going to expose me in a way?
Yeah.
Two, like the first one that I mentioned, the guilt.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be out of like, okay, like, this is the only person I consider my close friend,
Mm-hmm.
or this is the person I really do enjoy myself around, and if I break off this friendship, I might hurt their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I am the only friend that they have. So if I were to kind of break it off, or it could also be like, what if I'm alone? What if
Mm-hmm.
I'm also, um, so it's out of like, is it worth to be alone? I can like handle them, but it's better th than being alone.
Yeah.
There's also difference between like being alone and lonely. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we kind of confuse ourselves. Okay, without this person, I'm nothing. A lack of confidence, I would say, a lack of
I
self.
guess so, yeah.
What else do you think?
I'm
Like
trying to
these are
think
just
of
like
like other
something
stuff.
on top of my head that like a common thing like to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, they know too much. So if you know too much,
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah, like
Like,
you
kind of
said, one of them is definitely guilt. But again, like, but staying out of guilt is not equals to what you call loyalty. But yeah, again, the second point being history, right? Like you've been friends with this person for a very long time, and like you have this what you call inside jokes that no one understands, and you basically like share these special moments with that person, and it kind of like just to end that friendship, it kind of makes you sad. You don't want to do that and stuff, and then at the same time, when it comes to ending, it does not just feel like losing a person. it feels like losing a whole era of your life, and that's completely real at the same time.
Hmm. It could also mean like a fear of confrontation too,
Mm,
because I feel like the braverness of saying like hey, like I feel like I've given more than I get, or like are you even interested in this friendship, like where do you stand in my life? And because I
mm-hmm,
feel like that it may seem like a simple question, it may seem like the right question to ask
mm-hmm,
one another, but it may seem out of your comfort zone in a way like, oh, they never seen this side of me. Like, how do they feel about that? A lot of times we tend to focus on what the other persons feel rather than ourselves. And I
mm-hmm.
feel like we always shut ourselves down for something that we should have already said. Because is it worth to lose yourself over time than like speaking about it? You know what I mean? Like, who is important? Like, if you don't
Yeah.
hear yourself out, if
Mm-hmm,
you don't speak up for yourself,
mm-hmm.
and this friendship is doing you more wrong than right, there need to be a red line. There need to be a barrier. There need to be a boundary that need to be
Mm-hmm,
set
mm-hmm,
over here, because I don't think it is worth to shut yourself down to
mm-hmm.
outshine, to like shine another person, or shut yourself down. Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like within a friendship is a comfort zone. A friendship should be a peaceful zone where you're able to speak your mind and without feeling judged, where you'll be able to speak your what you are about without feeling
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, did I say too much? Oh my goodness, am I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
accepted? Am I not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess there's this thing that I usually say that a lot of people do not understand friendship, because the reason to why I'm saying this is because again, like we're in our like 20 something and stuff, but we've lived life to some extent. We still haven't lived fully, but a lot of people don't understand what friendship means, because sometimes we usually call friendships with anyone that we have, and then at the same time the way that we treat them is also like the most absurd way.
Mhm.
um and then again, like going back to that fear of confrontation, I'm sorry about me mispronouncing. um some people are kind of scared to share their true inside feelings.
Mm.
I have that issue now too. I'm scared to speak up when it comes to my friendship with some people too, because sometimes some people might kind of flip it around and kind of like get the wrong idea of what I'm trying to say. And then, you tend to quiet yourself instead of speaking. And that's sometimes okay. And then sometimes people also need to fix their own way of understanding things. And then just say, like, hey, what do you mean by that? And double check at the same time, too. But again, like, going back to all those three things, which is guilt, history, and fear of confrontation. My English is not English, I'm sorry. Um, I'm pretty sure the Amharic folks are like, oh yeah, like English, like,
Go
Yunus,
back
like,
to
Yunus
school,
just
bro.
speaking.
Go
Anyway,
back.
exactly. But like, again, we want to ask you guys as well, like, which one of those is your reason? Like, if you're honest, is it guilt, is it history, or just not wanting to have the conversation with that person?
Exactly. And as much as I want to like stress this part, is like we just stay not because like sometimes we're weak, but because, you know,
Mhm.
we're all humans and we relate to this kind of thing. And I feel like leaving someone that you really do care about is very hard to make. Like, leaving is the hardest decision
Mhm.
in every situation, because you always try to give it a chance. You always try to give it all before you say, I'm done. Because you always think that this person, for whatever is, you always thinking like, okay, because I love this person, I really do genuinely like to be with this
Mhm.
person, like keep them in my life so much that you try so hard. But to what certain extent are you going to try harder, like for someone that you're just pouring a lot and you're not
Mhm.
even getting, like the least thing
Goes
that you
back
can
to that
get is
energy.
time.
Yeah.
Energy, time, and the biggest thing a person can give you is their time. Like the amount of busyness that we all get and they give you your time.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's why, like, I usually say I don't think a lot of people don't understand what friendship means because sometimes we're like, oh, like I'm big on communication. I'm big on, because trust me, I'm not pointing fingers on anyone. I also deal with that as well. But people do say like, oh, like I'm a huge communication person. I like usually give time, but then at the same time, we don't self-check ourselves too, like just sit down, reflect and stuff, and then at the same time going back to that energy too, like at the end of the day you are priority. So if you don't feel safe within this friendship or whatever you call it, situationship, whatever, but in this case friendship, your priority, if you don't feel safe within that friendship, it's okay for you to leave if that person is not willing to communicate or that person has a fear of confrontation. In the name of Christ,
Concentrations.
confrontation.
Oh,
Confrontation.
concentration. Did I just say concentration? Oh my God.
But yeah,
Not me switching into concentrate. Yeah, you do need to
sorry.
concentrate into the problem.
Yeah. So
And
at the
speaking
end
of,
of the day, like just put yourself first. And again,
yeah,
going back to that communication, please have communication. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to be honest. And then for the sake of your well-being and for the sake of the other person's well-being. So, going to the next idea. So, okay, I'm pretty sure like a lot of this basically is the one that I think people need to hear because there's a difference between what you call a friend who's going through something and a friend who's always the problem. And sometimes we kind of like, confuse both of them at the same time as well.
yes. And I think the internet is like you were stuck in the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're talking about going through something versus always being the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
This is where
Mm-hmm.
um things are actually need to be looking into carefully because
Mm-hmm.
knowing the difference between that is very important when it comes to our friendships. Because, like you said, it is good to reflect. Sometimes we might be focusing on ourselves too much to the point that we really don't know how much problem we cause to someone, or we might make them overthink into our friendships, saying like they have done something wrong when the
Mm-hmm.
reality is there's nothing to be feel guilty about, but rather it's just we're living our life and we're just focusing on certain things. And one of the things that we can actually see it is something how do I say
Mm-hmm.
this? Let's say a friend lost someone
Mm-hmm.
and you try to reach out to them, right? And that person is not responding and you automatically think, oh, because we have not been talking so
Mm-hmm.
much about that, this person is kind of like they don't see a reason to communicate with one another. um and over time, because this person is kind of like dealing with this type of grief and they're really not communicating with you, you tend to respond or like trying to double text or triple text them in a way of saying like in a more like, oh, like I see you kind of being active or like over like media or something, meaning like let's say they're using certain things to reach out to their family because they're kind of like checking in, and you just feel like they're being rude and disrespectful. So how can you be like a better person in this situation to kind of like ask them if they're okay or not?
I guess that's a very difficult one because I'm also an overthinker. So
Mm,
when when you're trying to be there for a person that is going through grief, is going through mourning and stuff, is difficult. But then at the same time, I usually put myself in self-check and say like, okay, they're dealing with a lot. I'm pretty sure they're getting a lot of phone calls at the same time. So it's always, trying to give your mind. It's always good trying to give your mind positive um thoughts and stuff and say, yeah, like they're taking their time when they're available. It's always it's they'll respond through time. I guess that's one way I would actually like reach out or kind of understand the whole scenario. But let me hear your thoughts.
Yes. And then because there's like a different season that a person goes through, I feel like one of the ways we could
Mm-hmm.
have an understanding within one another is being patient. Being patient with that, being patient enough to really do understand, especially if you know how a person acts on their normal days. Like if a person is out of their character and you kind of see like this person is more quiet, this person is not being more communicative, this person is silent. There's a lot in silence. Sometimes a lot of things you don't really say because it doesn't fully express how you feel. Because sometimes it's easier to stay silent rather than say too much and not being heard, right? Um, so patient is always the key. And this is I see this kind of like grieving or like not feeling yourself and like kind of like going through different matters in life that you're not able to fully express yourself. This is a sign of something like a friend is going through something. But there's also another thing that we can see how you can be drained within a friendship, and that is by the friend that is always the problem. So how do we deal with a person that's always like causing like issues within themselves and they're kind of carrying that and like bringing it to you and you're constantly telling them maybe you should look into a different perspective. Maybe you should like kind of do this and then they're always constantly kind of bringing you those kind of problems instead of being your friend. It's like you're the problem solver kind of.
Yeah, no, that you're right. It's an issue, especially if the person is not willing to listen
Mm,
100%. Again, I had that moment severely that has been going for like years and years as well. Sometimes it's also, I just want to say that like it's always good to point out people's problems. Let's say if I'm seeing some issues with B, I usually, like say it out loud, hey, like I don't like it when you do this. I see that you're like, consistently like mentioning this and stuff. But like it's always good for you to check in. And then if that person is not willing to take the advice, which is okay, but then at the same time, if that person is not willing to make a change and if they're
mm.
bringing negativity, toxicity, and all those like annoying things, then I guess that's when like you shift your focus and say like maybe this is not good. This is when we have to like end the friendship, because at the end of the day, I'm talking about mental health, because when a person is going through something, that also like you start to like that stuff is going to start reflecting on yourself too. I had that moment when my friend was going through depression, and then I see myself, draining with that as well. But let me hear your thoughts too.
Absolutely. There needs to be a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else's problem should never cause you like a stress. If it is causing you stress, I think you need to say, okay, maybe this is something above me, maybe this is something I cannot handle because I feel like if both of you are going through something and the person is that always bringing you problems, I don't think that's helping you because I feel like this person is just adding on a drama after another drama and you have to be deal with that drama and there's always drama that's never ending. And if I feel like the question that you need to ask within yourself is this person going through something or this person is like basically this is their character like they like to surround themselves within toxicity if they're attracted to toxicity is this the person that you want to surround yourself with.
Yeah, possibly not. And then at the same time, it's also good to like, just have another follow-up question for you guys to like, just answer it to yourself. Like, have you ever excused draining behavior for too long? Because you told yourself they were just going through it or trying to be there for that person. And then when did you realize that wasn't actually what was happening? Because I had that moment too when I'm trying to be there when my life was just going in crisis mode. But I, in fact, withdrew those like feelings or whatever I was going through and then shift my focus into this person. But then at the same time, mm-mm, that was not the best thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like what like we think of it this way but we're not really confident enough to say it out loud as I feel like is that
Mm,
you can love someone from a distance
yeah.
like because like you can say, okay, this person is I really do dearly value them, who they are,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like they're not good for me, and it's okay to kind of like distance yourself from this kind of person and wish them nothing but the best. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you can end it in a good terms and
Of course.
just let them be who they are, but they don't have to sit at your table. They don't have to be in your
Mm-hmm.
life journey. And I think that's when you actually have to set a boundary within that
Mm-hmm.
person.
But yeah, again, that's a very good point that you just said. Um, like one thing that you also need to just put on your head is also um, just remind yourself that love is not the same as compatibility. Love is not the same as the friendship working. And then you don't have to paint them as a villain, see the dynamic being like unhealthy. At the same time, you don't have to hate them to decide you need distance. And
Mm.
then staying in something that drains you purely because you love that person, that's noble. That's just painful. Again, like I care about you and I can't keep on doing this. And that's not a contradiction. That's mostly like that's the very honest thing that you can say to that person.
Yep. And no matter how much it hurts to
Hmm.
say out loud, or
Hmm.
is that it's okay to ghost a friend. It's okay to no, 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 not ghost a friend, actually. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
It's
I guess
it's
I'm stalking someone today.
it's not okay to ghost. It's just okay
Mm,
to end it in a good term.
mm,
Because I don't like the word ghosting. Ghosting is
mm,
like you're just choosing to not being a mature person to speak your mind in a most
mm,
respectful way rather than like you're ending it without ending it. Like you're
mm,
kind of like taking the childish action rather than being mature enough and say, you know what? I feel like we had a good memory,
yeah.
but I feel like me and you do not go in the right path, and I wish you nothing but the best. We can say hi, bye, and all of that, but we don't have to be, like don't expect to be too close with us. You can
Hmm.
still say hello, hello, hi, bye, but
Yeah.
don't expect no more than that because I
Hmm.
don't, like I said, nobody is worth to cost you mental health. Nobody is worth to feel you any type of way. If a
Hmm.
friend is not building you, not good for you mentally and exhausting you, and honestly, your body even tells you, there's even an instinct in your body that kind of like tells you you feel strange around the person. Is the person making you feel comfortable, peaceful, like most like you can be yourself, or is this person is kind of like you have to watch every move? You know? You have to like watch your every move to speak to the person. I don't think that's healthy for you. So I feel like we need to be able to listen to ourselves, listen to our thoughts, listen to what we feel comfortable. And if we don't feel comfortable around the person, I feel like something is telling you.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like going back to it's okay to like ghost a friend because especially if you like if you had a conversation because every real history, every real friendships deserve a real closure. But I just want to focus on like the cases for ghosting more because we need to also like cover those as well.
Mm,
Sometimes like some conversations is not safe. Some people are manipulative and people who will weaponize whatever you say, and that's okay for you to ghost. Sometimes you already tried, you pulled back, and you're honest. You set limits and nothing changes. Feel free to go ahead, ghost it as well. And sometimes you don't resign from acquaintances too. Not
mm.
every friendship is deep enough for a formal ending, and that's totally okay. Um, and this one, which I really admire, is that the idea that everyone is owed an explanation can be used against you. Sometimes it keeps you longer than you should be too, as well.
Absolutely. And I feel like non-dramatic, like exit of the friendship is much more
Hmm.
better
Mm.
because you kind of like one of the ways you can do is like you can pull back, you can like be less available, you can like
Yeah.
kind of see like it's like naturally fading rather than being dramatically fading because sometimes
Mm.
you do want to speak something and then it becomes more dramatic and it becomes more dramatic than it needs to be because of misunderstanding, because of the
Of
wording.
course. Yeah.
We are very like hard people, honestly. Like the way our brain just
No, no,
thinks
no,
things
seriously.
the
Yeah.
way our brain just twists things in the most negative side is just very weird. So yeah, so one of the things that we really do need to have a reflect over is
Hmm.
that have you ever been in this situation like received an ending of the like a ghosting kind of text? And how did you
Mm.
feel about it? Like what did you actually do? Or how does that actually make you feel after like
Hmm.
you did this or like or this happens to you? Did it feel like more like I wasn't worthy of friendship or did it make you feel any type of way that the friendship ended in a way? Like did it do good for you that the friendship ended? I'm talking about the friendship that drained you,
Yeah.
where you feel like, "Oh my goodness, my life was so dramatic. Now I can finally breathe."
Hmm. Yeah, of course. And, just like not let it fade, not slowly, like just pulled back and actually like ended one. And you said the thing, made the decision, choose yourself. Have you guys like ever did that? And how did it go? If you would like to comment on the comment section, whether it be posted on TikTok or YouTube, please let us know because we would love to hear your thoughts as well. But again, like we just want you to, like also um take this and, you know, self-reflect as well. And yeah.
Because you might be the problem.
Hmm.
Not as much as we want to be the victim. Sometimes we could be the problem because of the way we handled it. And it's very, very important to really know who your friends are,
Yeah.
to really, and for those who are good, like those are that you have good friends, it's okay to, it's very nice to acknowledge them and
Of course.
let them know that they are very appreciative because you don't know
Hmm.
how much a good compliment, a good recognition of someone can make their
Hmm.
day and make them brighten because like I said, you don't know how many things people handle in their life and it doesn't cost you to be kind. It doesn't cost you to speak your mind. Speak your mind with cautiousness, of course. You don't just speak your mind because you want
Hmm.
to. Just be respectful, just know what's best for you because nobody can understand what you want but yourself.
Hmm.
And hear yourself out. If the
Of
friendship is
course.
doing you more damage than good, you need to walk
Hmm.
out before it's too late.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
understand? So, yeah,
Again.
you need to have a self-reflection.
Hmm.
Please, just have a self-reflection. Have some time for you. And I know a lot of times we are very distracted with a lot of things, with work, with school,
Hmm.
with a lot of things in life that we can't even express. But
I
go
love
ahead.
that part. Also, like I like the fact that you said sometimes we like to keep our mind to be busy so that we can get rid of like ugly thoughts, and I understand that. But then at the same time, I just want to point out that like if you don't have your own alone time, whether if you're hiking, whether if you're sitting down in a park, you won't be able to hear yourself, your thoughts clearly. And that's when you genuinely understand yourself. I just want to point that out as well. Again, like going back to like how you can say things clearly before you close any of like, friendships. Just remind yourself that you're not required to be endlessly available to people who take without giving. You're
Hmm.
not required to carry someone indefinitely who would not carry you. You're not a bad person for finally, like quietly choosing yourself, and that's totally okay. But then at the same time, do like check back yourself to what you B was just mentioning. um, yeah, the friend who fills you, they remember the thing that you mentioned 3 weeks ago. I have memory loss, but like just be, uh, just be grateful for those people. They check in when they know something hard is happening within you. They make you feel like you can be the full version of yourself and not the managed, edited, or careful version, but the real version of you. And you know, just be grateful for that.
Yep. Find like those more people because we need those kind of people and we appreciate you.
Yeah, and gently, kindly, firmly make less room for the ones who don't. We don't like negative energy. And with that, we leave you. Bye.
Bye bye.